Hey, Miss Princess, I just kind of want to do it real fast, just to kind of reinforce some ideas for my lesson before you really get into it. Unless you're reading this afterwards, that's cool too. I just kind of wanted to have a chance to just kind of talk about it mono to mono to mono, you said. So, just to kind of start off, um, I kind of decided early on that the classroom I would be placed in for this lesson, the imaginary classroom, I'm thinking of it as a mission possible a iPad slash tablet classroom because a lot of the lessons I could think of, I really wanted to kind of incorporate a like an iPad or a tablet, kids writing on it, like drawing or making something to present to the class, such as the mini humanoid figures that call the Underland home from the novel Gregor the Overlander. So I just felt that having access to an iPad would probably be one of the easier ways to do so. And then I also wanted to talk about my informal assessment. The informal assessment, it's all mostly based around the first lesson I have, and I just copied it to all the other lessons because it's something I want to reinforce for the students to do every time. This is going to be the pattern because I always found that when I was like reading a book, having something like a pattern like no like what my informal assessment is, which is have students write down the number of metaphors and personifications they saw in the reading for the day. I always felt like having that way to kind of back up something, you kind of become more aware to look for it. And I have it so that I'll have a chance to kind of look in their journals each day, and I'll say, okay, so he saw this, he saw this, he didn't see this, or she didn't see this, she thought she saw this. So I can kind of keep track of where they are in understanding grammatical structure as an English teacher, even if I'm trying to incorporate other techniques in my lessons. I still kind of want to keep track of the English part of it. And then for my creating, it's kind of a similar vein. Um, it's never like focused in a lesson, but it's more of an overarching ideal, and that is tracking relationships in a book like Gregor the Overlander. At times, it can be confusing. I know when I first read it when I was younger, I became confused many times. So I kind of want to make that a just a thing that I get to do daily, and it is developing a relationship chart or tree that reflects on the relationships in the story that Gregor has with others. And I felt like doing this kind of reinforcing this now in this lesson, it'd be beneficial for students later on because people don't really think of relationships when you're reading a book, and a lot of modern day literature, it's really pertinent to kind of understand how big of an influence relationships can have on a story. So by having students kind of marking down, kind of spreading their chart out or tree, they kind of get an ideal of, hey, okay, so this is this. Oh, he doesn't like him now, and they can kind of like refer back to it, like, oh, who's this character? I feel like I remember that name. Oh, let me reference my chart. Oh, it says right here he's his dad. Just that kind of having the ability to do so. As a student, I kind of wish I would have had a teacher that did that because I found that to be really interesting and really cool. And yeah, that's just I just kind of wanted to talk about those two things. I'll make sure. Sorry. Ah, yeah, those are the two things. Oh, okay. Sorry, one more. So the third thing I wanted to do is my analyzing blooms, which was contrast to different beings that Gregor has met so far. So for that one, that's another deal where it's going to be kind of like a list that they kind of, but this time in their mind, where it's not going to really like expand constantly, but you kind of hear rumors of the giant rats early on, and you kind of see the bats in the first 1 to 3 chapters, and as you go on, you start learning more about these different factions, the different relationships that they have with the Underland. And I kind of liked giving students the chance to kind of talk with one another to be like, oh, well, now we know that this group doesn't like this group. This group's fighting this group. Because like right now, even in the really early chapters, students they're still just learning about the human group. Even the human group at times, it feels like they're the enemies. but they're still unsure of which side they're going to be on. So I just kind of felt like those three things really need. I like reinforcing ideas in my lessons when I can, and I feel like those three things were something I kind of wanted to keep like um, constant throughout. So thank you.